Hello and welcome. Hope you're doing all right. I am doing all good. Been super busy at work, so not really had time to do anything. But I did have a 100 video spectacular planned, but I messed it up. So that'll have to be 102nd video spectacular or something like that. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Anyway, um, so yeah, what's been going on? Not a lot really. Haven't done a lot, just been mulling over a lot, but I thought it'd be a good excuse just to get out and have a little look around now that I've come back in the middle of the day for once and it's not dark. So really the two big things were obviously the storm we had come through, Storm Dara, and the frost. We didn't get an amazing frost. We did get frosted, but as you can see, a lot of it's been okay. We'll go around and inspect it. There's a few little bits here and there. I mean, with regard to the wind, the biggest thing that happened was that blackboard or that whiteboard over in the corner blew over against the table. And the biggest thing that happened frost-wise was that the insette, which was on that table, I forgot to bring in. So that's over here now, but it's taken a little bit of a dig, as you can see, those top three leaves. So yeah, could have been a lot worse. The major damage from the wind was a few of the fence panels out the front went down, which is actually quite good because last winter I lent about 6 or 7 pallets up against it, which weakened it and actually snapped them then, but it was just sort of holding on, until then, until the wind came and it knocked them down. So that's good. So it gives me the impetus to do that, and it gives me the impetus to actually get on with this up here, because all that wood where the patio's going, I need to get rid of that, and then I can lay the patio. And where I'm going to get rid of it is over here. So we got all these pipes coming across the bottom behind the chairs and all that. So what I'm going to do is, I've got an odd fence post anyway, and then there's 3 that need replacing, and the idea is that I'm going to put them horizontally, one at the top about the window height or windowsill height, one down the bottom, and then those bits of wood and the said pallets, when I strip them down, is use that wood vertically along and just tack it in at the top and the bottom, and that'll cover all those pipes because there's no joins in that pipe, and it'll all be different like bits of wood, like whereas the fence that I've put in is all uniform and the same wood, it'll all be different thicknesses and different widths and different like this, that and the other, which I think could give it a nice little jungly vibe rather than being too uniform. So yeah, that's all good. So I've had a couple of moments of genius, even if I do say so myself. First one being here. So you may remember that what the plan is with this is my pipes run across here, and then what I'm going to do is these bits of wood that I've used for the pergola, these thick ones, I'm going to run them down the side of each of these bits to sort of enclose the plug sockets, and then run a bar at windowsill height in that section to bring the thickness out, and then underneath all that have my command center where I'm going to have all my taps and valves and things like that. And then what the plan was I was going to make it like a kind of a hatch on the front of it, so that on magnets or something that I could just open up, and then in any given time you can't see anything, but then when I need to get to it I can just lift it out. But where I've hit my genius is, you may notice looking at that bar stool there, is a bit snug for 2 people to be sat in that bit. So what the idea is instead of having a hatch that I take out and put to the side, if I was to put a hinge on it, so it's down like that normally, and it hinges up, and then have 2 legs folded up in it that then fold down, that'll make me a nice big bar, and it'll probably come out to where these pipes are down here. It'll be quite big because it'll be the windowsill height near enough. So that's the first genius idea I've had. So we'll get to that when we get to it. Second one we'll get to in a bit, but otherwise in this section I quite liked sort of having all the plants in there. It makes it look so much better, a bit of greenery in there. So what I'm just fleshing out at the moment is mainly building a raised bed in the corner, like a triangle one, so i.e. obviously the corner, and then come out to the window and across to that fence post, sort of put a big diagonal in between them. So build a raised bed, but raise the raised bed off of the ground and have it so the bottom of it's at windowsill height, and then I could have a nice big pot in front of the gate there, with something like, a fascia, for example, in it or something like that. And then under the window, because this boxing's all going to be custom, I might be able to do it where, I can fit some plant pots or a little something in there, and then we'll have the high bit in the corner, and then either side of it will be lower plants, sort of thing. So nice pyramid effect. Just something I'm going to flesh out over the next few months when we get to it. But I need to do that fence at the front first, but we'll do that when we do to it. In other news, I finally, after about 6 months, put that little bit of you can't really see it here, but basically the roofing that I've got here, this corrugated stuff, one of them wasn't over the gutter, and when it rained it was dripping on top of the joist. You can see the remnants of it going down the back and then making this wall soaking wet. So yeah, anybody else got any 5-minute jobs they've been putting off for 6 months, do let me know. So I just hacked a little couple of inches bits worth and chucked a couple of screws in it, so that works quite well. The wind did pick up one problem with the pergola. The roof's still on it, which is fine, but on this section here it's got a couple of wobbly bits. There's one over just the other side as well, so I probably just need to bang 8 screws in that when it comes to it, but it all held on all right. It was just making a bit of a noise, so yeah, there we go. So coming around to this bit, leading on to my second bit of genius, is that I've got 2 honeysuckle cuttings which are ready to go in the ground next year. And what I was going to do was, if you look at that one over there, it's all growing out diagonally towards that tree, because that's sort of the after mid-afternoon sun. So what the plan was to put one in that corner where the lantern is. There's a little Dixonia in there which I can move probably into that raised bed, if you see what I mean. But was to put one in there, let it climb up that little bit of trellis in the corner, and then it'll all grow out towards us on the diagonal and hopefully cover the pergola a bit quicker. And then either side of these, because that outside tap's going to go, and I'm going to box in all that the same as the bit we were just looking at, build a couple of raised beds either side of the window, and have it all climb up there. And I tell you what, I quite fancy like the Brugmansia, I want to say, is it the red upside down trumpet flowers? Those ones, I quite fancy a couple of them. So what I'm thinking is I could whack a Brugmansia over in that corner behind the Tetrapanax, whack one there under the lizard, whack one of the giant honeysuckle cuttings in where this banana is when I build it, and have it go up there. And then that would still sort of go over the pergola because it's going the right way. And then if we rewind back to the original remit of it, it was to make it look like a jungle. And when you think of jungle, or when I think of jungle, you kind of think of overgrown, having to hack through with a machete. That doesn't look like you have to hack through a machete to get there. So the idea originally was, I had the big bananas in, didn't I? Where that Scheffler is, dead in the centre of that one, there was bananas in there. And then just ignore that side because there wasn't any in there. But if you imagine the banana leaves were supposed to sort of go over the top and cover the top half of the top half of the climbing frame from this view, and then have something like a 4-foot Dixonia and 3-foot Dixonia which would cover that middle bit, and then a big one at the bottom, a big fern at the bottom, kind of to make it so you couldn't see any of the wood of the climbing frame, and it kind of looked like the kids were sliding out of a bush, effectively, and then do whatever on that side. So, but what my genius idea is that, what if I was to plant one of the giant honeysuckles in the climbing frame? So you can just see the sand pit there, the little turtle underneath the slide. That where that shop front is, where it's all been busted up, I'm going to make that into a climbing wall. So I'm going to put all wood up into that, so it's not, you can't get into it from that side, and put so the kid can climb up it. If I was to plant one in that corner where the little torn down bit of fabric is, or whatever it is, and then it's, because that's the state of that at the moment after frost. So they are semi-evergreen. It's fast growing, so it'll cover it quickly, and also it's like that play bark is like a mulch, isn't it, if you see what I mean? So that'd be a thick mulch up against it. When I'm doing the climbing wall, I can box in the stems so the kid can't wreck it, and then I can tie stems underneath the platform bit, if you see what I mean, and have it, and then just let it go wild after that, if you see what I mean. And I reckon that would cover that pergola in 3 years if all went well. So that's my other genius idea that I've had, which I probably will do just because I want to see what happens if I did it. The slight consideration I've got, which isn't really one at all, is what insects will be on it with the kid climbing around it when the flowers are on it. But you got you got to toughen these kids up, haven't you? So a little bee sting here and there won't hurt anyone. I don't know if any of them are allergic to anyone, but I guess we'll find out. So yeah, that's about it really. So yeah, once all that wood goes, patio's still on, and then the waterfall over in the corner. So for now, I think we just go around and have a look around at some stuff. So actually, if we start out at this passion flower. Sorry, my camera work is I'm out of practice. Not that I was any good to begin with. But the leaves are starting to fatten out a little bit at this end, which is really good. So I'm glad of that, because I was a bit worried the leaves were all going to be like this size, like a couple of centimeters, but they're actually probably 3 or 4 inches. So yeah, that's good. A little bit thick. You can see all my cheese plant cuttings. There's one I've said, giant honeysuckle cuttings there as well. So yeah, going around here, the pot down on the bottom right, which has got the 3 pots in it, those were the honeysuckle cuttings I took, but I watched a video again with the horticulturist, and I'd taken them all off flowering parts of the plant, and apparently that won't work, so I just brought it out here, and I'll probably take some more cuttings before we get much more of a frost. You can see the first flower for the camellias coming out. So that's quite nice. They always look good, camellias. I am a big fan of them. Really here, the only thing to consider is the frost just nicked a bit of the Dixonia frond there at the end, but otherwise that looks pretty good. There's that camellia flower if you're interested. I'll take a picture of that for the thumbnail. Honeysuckle survived quite well, even the new stuff. It was quite a hard frost. That roof up there was covered in frost, but it doesn't seem to have affected the garden too much at the moment, not wanting to curse it. But yeah, all this is still looking really good. So can't really complain at that. Around here, the Clematis Armandii is starting to bud up now, so they should probably flower in the next month, so that's good. But yeah, looks okay around here. Scheffler is still sort of living. I guess I'm interested to see what happens with that. Come spring, Lophosauria survived. Happy days. Most of this has all survived, so can't really complain at that. Down here, yeah, it's all, it all looks pretty good. And this was the point of having evergreens everywhere, is that they give me my background for all year round, and then I can tie it up with a couple of flashes. Oh yeah, I did actually have another genius moment as well, which I have almost perfected my garden design algorithm, taking all the fun out of gardening. So yeah, I'll get into that another day, but I've perfected it. I'm calling it, I'm calling it the 666 rule. So read into that what you will. Emmy's doing all right. Lactophosaurus is doing okay. Not really been touched here. The canna, it's been a bit touched by the frost, you can just see, but it hasn't killed it off. Usually they go all black and I cut them off. I'm unsure whether I need to force that into dormancy or whether I can just leave it like that. So yeah, if you know cannas, let me know whether I should just chop that off now and give it a good mulch, or just wait for it to die off when we get more frosts in January or February maybe. The temperature around here lately has just been 10 degrees in the day, 6 degrees at night, and cloudy and overcast. And that's probably going to be it for another 3 or 4 months. Hopefully I don't mind that, because the ferns love it. So yeah, Scheffler is doing all good. If we come around here, Lechnum's doing all right. It's all doing all right. This is what we like to see. I haven't actually had a proper good look around here yet, so you can see all the flower buds have all fallen off and landed on stuff from the Fatsias. Oh yeah, another decision I make, I am going to take that fig tree out. I think it's just going to be a bit too wild when it gets going, and I'll put a Scheffler in there. So yeah, I'm 99.9% sure on that. So I'll just have another think for a week or two, and then I might start taking it out. You can see this new Cyathea frond was a victim of the frost. That was just because it was brand new when it came out. These ones are all okay, they're on the same plant. Fatsia is doing really well, looks really good. Real staple for this time of year. That just adds that feeling to it. Dixonia is doing all right. You can see my technique for overwintering Dixonia, which is just shove a load of leaves in it. And yeah, down there as well. So that's all I've done really. That frond got a bit burnt at the edges as well, which is a bit annoying. That one down there it is still coming, but it's slightly on the lean, and that tends to mean it's been a bit corrupted. So we'll see what happens with that when it comes out. But it's still alive, obviously, because it's still growing. So yeah, happy days. You see a few of this has just been burnt off a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Everything else is kind of all right. So yeah, there we go. It's not too bad. Yeah, so hopefully next video will probably be out the front. I'll do because I've done all the beds out there now. It looks really good actually, because I've put a load of rocks out there, so it does look good. But you may be wondering where the ginger is, where the monkey puzzle is, where all the other ferns are, and the bamboo and other such joyous things. They're all out there. And then the other half of the garden, which is my shed and, places to store crap, basically. I need to fix the fence posts and then put some more fence posts in, so we'll do that next. And then I'll do my 101st or 102nd video spectacular I've got planned when I get round for it. But anyway, thought we'd just do a quick run round. Hope you're all doing good, and hope your gardens aren't suffering too much. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Ta-da.